Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. So I recently did a first impressions video of a Vaer watch, this brilliant looking chronograph. And full disclosure, the brand did send this to the channel so that I can review it. However, I have to send it back to them. So I'm gonna do a review tonight so that I can do that. I did get to go through their catalog and kind of choose a watch or watches that I was interested in sharing. And this one is different from most of the pieces that have come through the studio. So I went with this one. So Vaer was founded in 2016. So it's a very young company. And if you look on their website, their product values are as follows. Extreme water resistance for daily ocean use. Remember that for later. 2 interchangeable straps for ultimate functionality. Extensive USA sourcing for added quality control. Refined aesthetics for unquestioned good taste. A responsible business for long-term growth. Now on another YouTube channel, I heard that Vaer was founded by surfers. And that tracks. I mean, yeah. Yep. Definitely. And with that daily ocean use line in there, that's pretty cool. And there's an interesting shot of one of their early prototypes. Early prototypes were exposed to a wide range of trials, including surf and free diving, boiling water submersion, drop tests, and even high altitude exposure in the Himalayas. And look at that early Everest prototype. That thing has been tested. A commitment to creating a functionally waterproof wristwatch at sub $150 starting price point proved challenging. We started Vaer with our collective life savings, and after officially opening sales in 2017, relied on early support of family and friends to get the company off the ground. Since then, we've slowly gained traction with communities of watch enthusiasts and outdoorsmen. Customer loyalty, both in repeat purchases and customer referrals, have been critical to our growth and have allowed us to avoid the influence of external funding. After surviving the first year of business, we made the consequential decision to move our watch assembly operation to the United States. While it represented an increase in cost and presented major logistical challenges, since a US watch manufacturing network was inexistent, we felt that as a young, independently owned company, it was a challenge worth taking. Yeah, and I think in the future I may explore their catalog in a video and just kind of share some of the other pieces that they make with you. Because there was a couple others that I liked as well. But let's do a full review of this watch. Let us begin. And here is the watch up close and personal. That orange dial is so great. And the crystal, I like the way it distorts on the edges like that. And after I did my first impressions video, a lot of you out there were mentioning that this one also stands out to you among their collection. And I mean, how could it not with that orange and yellow and just what a cool colorway. Unfortunately, these are currently sold out. I'll be keeping my eye on the website, and when they are in stock, I'll have to mention it in a future video, just so that you guys are aware. So the 2 straps that this particular piece ships with is a Tropic And this is really high quality rubber here. I've owned a few of these, but none of them quite felt like this. So this is definitely decent quality on this strap. And I mentioned this in my first impressions video. My only beef with these types of straps is they tend to be pretty long for me. But I'm super picky. When I order leather straps, I usually buy from shops that allow you to pick the length of the strap. And I always go with small. So there's just a few holes beyond the tang, and the strap ends up ending somewhere like this. I'm pretty weird about that. I don't like seeing the strap sticking out on the other side of my wrist. Yeah. That's some watch nerdery right there. And we have a brushed buckle with some branding on it. There. It's a quick release strap, which is great because this watch also ships with a bracelet. And this is still in the wrapping, and I would like to pass this on to the next reviewer or wherever I need to ship it in the state that I got it. So we'll kind of see what this looks like when it's on the watch, but I don't want to unwrap all of this. I'm going to leave it on there so it's nice and new, and someone down the line, if they want to unwrap it, they're free to. But it feels pretty good, and there's 4 positions of micro adjustment, fold over, and buttons, which is amazing, especially if you're going for an everyday wear watch. I feel like that's a great combination right there. There's some more branding. Yeah, when you close this clasp, it's not going anywhere. And this is also quick release, which I feel like every bracelet should be. Bracelets are so difficult to swap out, but with quick release, perfect. So we'll look at this later. Looking at the case back, the etching is well done on this. I did end up taking the sticker off the back though, because it was so loud. It would make wrinkly sounds and not great for video recording, especially when you're doing wrist shots and it's making noise every time you move. That case shape is pretty cool. We have some information around the edge here. So this portion of the case is polished. The sides and the top are brushed. The lugs are a decent size, so if you decided to put a NATO on this, there's room enough for it to slide through there, which is good. It's interesting when there are watches that are of a style that generally go really well with NATO straps, but their lugs are so short that it's really difficult to put them on the watch. I have 1 or 2 of those. And this is a screwed down crown. So we'll unscrew that. This is a mecha quartz movement. Pop this out. And it feels great when you're setting the time. Pop it back in. This is a no date watch, which is great. Let's see how it screws in. The threads catch pretty well. And we have a running seconds down here. 24-hour over here, which are kind of fun. And then this is the chronograph minutes over here. So we'll kick it off. The button action feels pretty good. Yeah, and just look at this colorway. That orange with this yellow chronograph hand. And the colors in these subdials. So cool. And in my first impressions video, I did call out how cool that minutes track looks as it's getting distorted. Look at that. That is super cool. The text on the dial is very minimal. We just have the branding below the 12 o'clock. I'll just keep talking while this chronograph is running. We'll just kind of see this minutes subdial in action. The syringe hands are very cool looking. I really like syringe hands. I have a field watch that has them, and they're just really cool looking. The indices are applied and there is lume, so in just a bit I will fire up the flashlight and get some time-lapsed footage and see how that performs. Alright, we'll let the chronograph run a little bit longer. We can see that the minutes have advanced. Then we'll stop it. The buttons feel good. And then we'll reset it. And being mecha quartz, it just snaps back to the top like a mechanical chronograph. Cause yeah. Alright, let me see if I can get this strap off. And we'll put the bracelet on for a moment, see what that looks like. Alright, this wrapping will probably make some noise, but look at that. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been more of a strap person. I do own a few watches now that have bracelets, but I almost like this better on the bracelet. I don't know. That looks pretty cool. I can't quite fit it on my wrist, but yeah. I like how it tapers and how it's brushed and polished. That's a good choice for this watch. That looks great. Okay, here it is back on the strap. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is 38 millimeters, which as chronographs go, that's kind of on the smaller end. I've found that most chronographs that I've seen, if they're sub 40, I believe the smallest I've really encountered was 37. I think my friend had a vintage one that was 36, but I had to search out for smaller chronographs, and even in vintage ones, most of them were 38. So this is a pretty good size. I like it. The case height is 12.6 millimeters. The lugs are 20 millimeters. The lug to lug is 46 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire. And the movement inside this is a Seiko VK-63 Mecha Quartz. It has 100 meters of water resistance, and these retail for $495 when they're available. Alright, so let's test this lume out and see how it does. Not bad. Alright, let's see what this looks like when it's on your wrist. I'm going to take off my Traska Commuter 34 millimeter. This has absolutely been my everyday wear since I got it. Such a great piece. Let me take this off and we'll see what the R1 looks like when you're wearing it. And there it is on my 7-inch wrist. My wrist is 55 millimeters wide. So you can see how this wears on a wrist of that width. I like how thin it is. That case design is great. There's a lot of interesting things happening, and I love the case shape. Very cool and eye-catching. I like it. There you have it, the Vaer R1 Orange Chronograph. This is a really cool looking piece, and it just feels absolutely solid. I think in my first impressions video, I mentioned it being kind of on par case-wise with something like a Christopher Ward. Having owned a few of those in the past, that's kind of how this one feels and looks a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have the design language of Christopher Ward, but they did some really cool things in their case design. But thanks to Vaer for sending this so that I can experience this watch and share it with you guys. I will get it shipped off here in the next few days, and yeah, thanks for watching.